Okay, next up, we are now joined by last year's winner at Chicagoland, Kyle Busch, driver of the number 18 Skittles red, white, and blue Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. If you have a question for Kyle, please raise your hand, state your name and affiliation, and we'll get you a microphone. Start over here with Jordan.
Hi, Kyle. Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic. Question about your teammate Eric Jones. He's kind of in this limbo. Is he going to return to Joe Gibbs Racing? What's questions about his future? Have you any discussions or advice to him about kind of handling this and kind of turning on the blinders to the outside noise or anything?
So I'm giving my advice to Eric Jones through the media. Is that the question? I have not had any conversations with Eric. It is a particular situation, I would assume, to be in, but I'm not privy to all the details about exactly what all is going on. I know that obviously being through Kyle Busch Motorsports and through the Xfinity Series, coulda, shoulda won the championship that year. Since being in the Cup car, he's had good runs. He's had a lot of bad luck. He's had bad luck take him out of good runs and such, and so it's kind of frustrating. I know. He is a Cup Series winner, which is cool, but we are a performance-based business, and you got to perform, and so however that happens, however that is, you got to make that happen. So, I'm not sure what more to say besides that, really.
We'll go to Nate on your left.
Nate Ryan, NBC Sports. Kyle, it's the first time in 4 years the Joe Gibbs Racing driver, other than yourself, has 4 wins in the season with Martin Truex Jr. Martin was just in here talking about how he likes it. He likes the fact that you guys are kind of pushing each other. He likes that there are no secrets now anymore between each other because you're under the same roof. What's it like for you to have somebody at JGR driving you that way?
When you say that, that means there are secrets. So that means he's got secrets. I have to find out what those secrets are. It's been good. We've had the relationship with Martin for a long time, even years back with MWR and him being over there and being a part of the Toyota family. And then when he moved out of that role and into Furniture Row, he was Chevy for a couple years, and then they switched back and came back with Toyota. Martin did, essentially. And that's when he got teamed up with Cole, and they've just been on a hot run since, So Cole's obviously a very smart individual, does a great job. Has good people around him, and Martin's a good driver, talented driver. I've gone up against him in our Xfinity days back in our rookie seasons, So I know what he's like and how good he is, and it's nice to have him under our roof and in the same equipment, and to be able to communicate with them and to share the stuff that we do and to have the opportunity to go up against one another each and every week is pretty fun. There's racetracks that he's really, really good at and shines at and does well, and there's racetracks that I'm good at as well too, or better at, that we kind of can go back and forth on. But it could be any one of us any week. We've got all the tools necessary at Joe Gibbs Racing, thanks to Joe and JD and Coy and everybody that's built this place that gives us what we need and everything we want.
Go to Bob in the back.
Bob Hockris, Fox Sports. Martin did term it last week as a rivalry just because you both compete against each other for championships, and kind of along the lines of what Nate asked, do you see it as a more friendly rivalry or less friendly rivalry now that you're actually under the same roof? I mean, has it changed at all since last November?
No, I would say it's a friendly rivalry. The way that we kind of go about it, we put everything out on the table. We've crashed each other a few times, and we've been pissed at each other a few times. But a couple weeks later, whatever, we're back to business and joking around in meetings or working with one another and stuff like that. So you're going to have those situations that happen, especially with as tight as we are and as close as we run with one another every week. So try to give each other the space that you need and the respect that each of us deserve. And sometimes we run into one another, but that's to happen, I guess. But it's been good overall. It's friendly, I'd say.
We'll go to Claire on your right, Kyle.
Claire Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. How do you think that you and Martin are alike, and how do you think that you're different? And do you think that you don't have secrets, the two of you, just little ones?
We, I'd say we're nothing alike. And he would he would want to really, really agree with me on that. So he's not in my wheelhouse whatsoever, or considered to be in my wheelhouse at all. He's just obviously more laid back and more reserved. Comes across way different than I do. I'm a bit more outspoken and brash, but I think that's where we kind of can complement one another. You know, there's times in meetings where I just want to come out and blurt something, and I just kind of hold it back a little bit, and I let Martin say it, and he says it in a better way than I ever could have thought of it. So, you know, he kind of gets my point across sometimes for me, and then vice versa. You know, if I feel like he doesn't say it hard enough, then I'll get in and I'll jump in. You know, but that's the same with Denny. Denny and I, we've done that over the course of the last 10 years together as well too. You know, Jones is a little bit more reserved, a little bit more inexperienced maybe, but he's been speaking up a lot lately. So it's a good mix of what we've got going on as a team, not just between Martin and myself. I mean, I'm sure there's things that, you know, tricks of the trade or whatever, things that we do behind the wheel or driving techniques or things that we do that we don't always share. You know, as far as the crew chiefs go, what they do or the tricks of the trade or things that they do with their race cars, you know, how tight is this bolt, how loose is that one, whatever. You know, I'm sure there's different things there that crew chiefs do and how they prep their cars that you can't put it on paper. You know what I mean? So you never really see those things. But when it comes to paper and what everybody writes on that, I would say that there's no secrets there.
We'll go to Tyler in the middle right here.
Tyler Burnett, Motor Racing Network. Next week is the final Independence Day weekend race in Daytona. What has that weekend meant to NASCAR and Daytona? And also, can you describe the emotions of winning that race in 2008?
That's a long time ago. Yeah, I mean, I think the Firecracker 400 that it's always been kind of known for is an iconic race, and it's kind of weird to hear that we're not going to be there on July 4th weekend anymore, you know. So you always kind of looked forward, I guess, to going to Daytona on July 4th. You know, I know that the schedules have kind of changed over the years, but typically we've kind of had, if you don't run Xfinity, then you kind of have a little bit more of a free day on Fridays, and so you get an opportunity to kind of go to the beach or whatever. And since having Brexton, you know, that's kind of what we've done, and kind of gotten away from the racetrack a little bit and gone and done some things, or even played in the coach lot with you know, water balloons and slip and slide things and whatnot. So it's kind of fun. You just know that it's Daytona, it's going to be hot, but you can do anywhere, I guess. I think are we in Indy next year? Yeah, if you're in the all asphalt coach lot, you're not going to have those games. You know what I mean? So you're going to have to go somewhere else, I guess. But overall, just enjoyed that feeling of knowing that July 4th is always Daytona, but it's going to be different. And going back to 2008, man, all I can remember from 2008 was Carl Edwards and myself. We were racing for the lead, coming down to the final stretch of the race, and I think there was a crash, and luckily I was a nose ahead. I mean, I was like 6 inches ahead of him through the middle of turns 1 and 2, and the caution came out, and that's what won me the race. You know, I didn't come back and take the checker, but overall it was cool to get a Daytona points-paying win there. I think that's my only one, so that kind of sucks, but you know, you got to be more lucky than good there, and I'm not very lucky.
We're going to go to Jay all the way on your right over here, Kyle.
Jay Cohen, Associated Press. When you look back on the finish here last year, what do you remember? What stands out to you? And secondly, given this track and coming back with the rules package, is there potential for a finish like that again, that type of dramatic last lap racing?
I think what stands out to me the most of last year's finish is about every detail there is to remember. You know, I remember I had a good lead, and I was just kind of biding my time, and there was a lot of traffic in front of me. There was actually a gaggle of cars that I had to pick my way through. My brother was in it, Newman was in it, Stenhouse was in it, somebody else I think was in it as well too, and I kind of got bottled up a couple times, and I think I picked the wrong groove a couple times, and you know, it gave Larson good opportunities to close the gap on me and catch up, and then we had obviously the last lap getting into turn 1. I knew I needed to take the top and take Larson's line away from him, because that's where he was running, and make him do something different. And he went to the bottom, and I thought he was going to try to pull a slide job, and he just didn't. You know, he knew he couldn't complete it and have the momentum off the corner that he needed in order to stay side by side with me. So he he got into my quarter panel and put me in the wall, and then after that it was gloves off. We were on after that. So it was an iconic finish, a very interesting, I don't think so, I'd say dynamic finish that just will be known and recognized for a long time. And typically you don't see those at 1.5 miles, but it was nice to have something like that happen, especially to kick off NBC and Junior being in the booth and everything like that. So that was really fun. And if we can see finishes like that, you just never know. It's a shame that we don't have finishes like that each and every week. I mean, we'd have people waiting in line for grandstand tickets if we did, but it only comes along once and every so often. So hopefully we can continue to put on good races like that, though.
Go back to Dustin right there in the front.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Can you kind of put into context the level of success you've had this year and kind of how you feel like it compares to other years of level of success, dominance, strength, and in how you're doing in your team?
I'd say this year's been pretty good overall, but certainly I think we've underachieved on a few fronts. There's been some races that we've thrown away that we shoulda, coulda, woulda won. I can count 3 right now. Vegas being one of them, Texas being another one, possibly Martinsville. But if it wasn't Martinsville, it was I don't remember. Was it Charlotte? I don't remember. Daytona, that's what it was, Daytona, So just yeah, I mean it's been a good year. We had that stretch of top 10 runs and felt pretty good to have that start the season strong, but like I said, winning is what's everything in this business, and being able to get out there and score the trophies is where it's at. So thankful to have the 4 wins that we do, but be pretty crazy if we already had 7 or 8,
We have time for one more. Go back there to Bob.
Don't screw it up.
Now, are 3 trucks in the top 6 an improvement from what you view?
I knew somebody was going to ask me this question. God. Yes and no. Yeah, certainly it's an improvement. It's good, and for as bad as the race started off for Todd and the 4 team, it wasn't looking very good early, but they rallied and they had good long run speed, so they were able to kind of come back up through the long runs and such. But if I'm being brutally honest, there was probably 4 trucks that fell out of the race that probably would have run up in the top 10 that would have pushed Harrison back maybe a spot and Todd back maybe 3 spots or so. So it's all relative, but seeing improvement, getting better is where it's at, and everybody's working really hard at being able to do that. I know Todd's working hard. I know these guys aren't just taking it for granted and not doing anything. It's just a bit frustrating to not see the wins coming to fruition. When I remember back to 2014, myself, Eric Jones, and Bubba Wallace, we all won 14 of the 23 races. So I know the potential's there. It's just trying to get us there.
Thank you, Kyle.
All right.
Best of luck this weekend.